Happy Black History Month! The marathon continues this month as I do Black themed videos. Today's video, I will be ranking classic Black films. I am a huge TV show person. I love watching TV, dissecting, analyzing the characters, how they reflect upon us as the consumers, blah, blah, blah. But in the past, like a year and a half, I've been trying to get more into movies and watching classic movies and just become more of a movie buff, because not to compare movies and TV shows, but like movies are like longer stamp and they're able to tell a story in a short amount of time, whereas TV shows, they have 3, 4, 5 seasons to tell a whole story, so the impact is different than the impact of movies. I've seen most of these in recent years. It's a lot of films that most people would consider classics that I haven't seen. I've never seen any of the Friday stuff. I've never seen Judas, but I watched this person talk about it, so I feel like I've seen it because I know the story. I've never seen Menace to Society. What's another classic? I haven't seen a lot of Spike Lee films. I've seen some, but not kind of like the monumental ones. I'm trying to build my repertoire, but we're not there yet, but I still feel like I've seen enough to do a little video on them. So if you don't see your favorite Black classic film where you're like, oh, this is a classic, why isn't it on here? It's probably because I haven't seen it, not because I didn't think to put it on here, you know, and I only want to rank things that I've seen. I also put some modern classics in here just because the impact is undeniable that I had to add it on here, but I know the actual definition of classic is judged over a period of time to be of the highest quality and outstanding of its kind. A period of time could be 2 years. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I have 20 different films that I chose for this ranking video. I feel like that's a perfect number. Again, they range from movies made in the 80s to movies made in like the 2020s. I think the most recent one on here was made in 2021. Okay, so there's 5 different ranking tiers. The first one being talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference, put it in a blender, shit on it, vomit on it, eat it, give birth to it.
It basically means like extremely high caliber. You can't top this. This will go down in generations. This is excellence, emotional, groundbreaking, never before seen, can never be replicated. Like, it's basically like that Lady Gaga meme. Like, it's so good, it's almost inexplainable. That's why I'm just explaining it with a bunch of words, synonyms. That's the highest tier. Then the second one is They Did That. Okay, we see you, like, you did that. Like, you're not quite at the top yet, but this is still honorable. This still deserves praise. The next tier is Get Her Jade. Get her, Jade. It's Miss Coco Montrese. It's basically like respectable, acknowledged, some things I didn't like, some things I would have changed, some misfires, some missteps, but still has some redeeming qualities. To further elaborate on the meaning of this tier, just in case people have not seen Drag Race in this particular episode, we as the audience are Alyssa's back rolls and Jade Jolie is the movie. It's like, get her, Jade. Like, okay, movie, you came with a little bit of intensity, but
had rolls all over the place in the back. It was disgusting.
Back rolls.
Okay, it's Nene Leakes.
Okay, whatever that means.
You missed the mark, or you missed several marks. Lots of noticeable issues. You tried, which is why you're not at death. You tried something, but the movie mostly leaves a sour taste in my mouth with very few redeemable qualities. And then the final tier, of course, we have death to all of them.
Death to all of them.
Inspired by Wendy Williams. This is an awful movie. It probably should have never seen the light of day. Lots of flaws, mistakes. The acting super poor, the directing super poor. Something super obvious in the script or plot is missing, and it's just overall death to all of them. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, the first one we have 1985's The Color Purple, starring Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, directed by Steven Spielberg, based off of the novel by Alice Walker. I'm not one to cry at movies, but when I watched The Color Purple for the first time, I think I watched it 2 years ago. I had always heard of it, I just never seen it. I sat down and watched it in my dorm. I had to literally like go under my covers and hide from my roommate so she wouldn't see me crying. I was bawling. This is one of the greatest movies of all time, Black or not. The Color Purple is an amazing story. Shout out Alice Walker. I still need to read the book. Whoopi Goldberg did her thing. Oprah Winfrey did her thing. The story of sisterhood, love, abuse. I'm not even into period pieces. It's a period piece, and I was still just completely immersed into the story. It's so beautiful. It's so emotional. It's so raw. I have no choice but to put it in talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping. Like, it's a classic. Next, we have 1990's House Party. the old people are gonna be mad at me. Okay, so I know it's kind of like music film because it's supposed to be based off of Kid and Play's actual careers as rappers, party hosts and stuff, but I didn't really get the movie. Martin Lawrence is in it, Keisha Campbell's in it. It's fine. Like, it's a fine movie. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was just kind of like waiting for it to be over. They throw this party. It's kind of like buddy cop where they like kind of go on an adventure and they're like dodging the police, and then the party ends and then the movie's over. I don't know. It feels like, oh, we're just here to watch a movie with Kid and Play in it. You know what I mean? Like, that was like the appeal when this came out in 1990. I'm gonna put this in like okay because it just wasn't riveting to me. It's nothing I would go back and watch. The performances were subpar. The plot was, to me, boring, but maybe for its time it was groundbreaking. But as of 2024, I'm putting it in okay. Next we have the classic. Again, I think this is classic outside of the boundaries of being a black film. Boyz N the Hood, directed by John Singleton, starring Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Morris Chestnut being introduced into the industry. I don't think there's much to say. Every American should watch Boyz N the Hood. It's not even just every black person. Every American should watch this movie. It's extremely emotional. It's raw. It's gritty. And it inspired a whole genre, in my opinion. All them hood gangster movies that came after, they got the blueprint from Boyz N the Hood. No shade. Like, at least the storytelling aspect, they got it from John Singleton. No shade. Very moving, very emotional. I actually recently saw it, like in the past like 3 years. I didn't grow up watching this movie. It still holds up. It's timeless. Next we have 1993's What's Love Got to Do with It, the Tina Turner story, starring Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne. This is a movie that is also extremely emotional, especially because it's based off of a real woman's life. Rest in peace to Tina Turner. Again, I don't even have no commentary. It's just like, it's a classic. This movie is incredible. Angela Bassett was Tina. You could not tell me that wasn't Tina Turner. The story is extremely sad. Obviously, everybody knows the abuse that went on with Ike and Tina Turner's relationship. To me, the story is more than just about love and abuse and betrayal. It's also about like redemption. A story about how rags may not always go to riches. You might have to go back to rags. It's beautifully embodied by Lawrence Fishburne and Angela Bassett. We remember it for their performances. It was also an inside look, a superstar's life and how everything's not so glitz and glamour, coming from humble beginnings. It's classic. What's love got to do? Got to do with it. Next we have 1993's Poetic Justice, starring Tupac Shakur and Janet Jackson. Y'all about to be real mad at me.
Some of y'all about to be real mad at me.
I'm putting this in Get Her Jade because it's a fine movie. When I first watched it, I was like, okay, that's it. It's basically about a story of these 4 young black people driving, I think, Los Angeles to Oakland. We get to see them on their journey and all the trials and tribulations they have to go through. But the ending was kind of just like unsatisfactory for me. Like, we just see Tupac Shakur and Janet Jackson kiss. Like, maybe that was the appeal. Maybe that was the drive-in, just to see them kiss. The actual like structure of the story was just kind of like, okay, that's it. Strong performances from everyone. It's something cute to put on, but the plot was just kind of like, I feel like we could have added some more things and it could have been a little bit more, it could have committed more to what it was trying to do, whether that was being the dramatic aspects or even the funny aspects, because there's a lot of comedy in the movie. Something need to be driven up a little bit more for this movie for me. Classic, you know, Poetic Justice braids. Staple. Next we had 1994's Jason's Lyric, starring Mrs. Jada Pinkett Smith. Mrs. Jada Pinkett Smith. Okay. Let me explain why I put it in okay. They tried. The story tries. The story is very layered. It's a lot going on. It was a cool story, especially I like when they touched on his dad having PTSD from war. Forrest Whitaker is just amazing as well. But this movie's way too long for like what it was. The ending is pretty tragic depending on your perspective. The movie was a drag at the beginning, and by the time it started to pick up, the movie was almost over. So I feel like they wasted a lot of time going into detail about stuff that didn't essentially matter. There's some love scenes that are pretty explicit, well acted though. It's definitely more of a thriller than romance. Overall, I was just a little underwhelmed, to be honest. So I'm putting it in okay because of that. Very strong performances from the cast though. Next we have Waiting to Exhale, 1995, based off the Terry McMillan book of the same name. You already know. Putting it in talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular. Every black person in America should watch Waiting to Exhale. I actually am deeply obsessed with Terry McMillan. I'm reading A Day Late and a Dollar Short by her right now. It's a story about sisterhood, womanhood, real shit. All the characters are beautifully embodied and depicted by Loretta Devine, Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, Robin, forget her last name, Mead. This is Layla Roshan. Her character in Waiting to Exhale's name is Robin. I don't know where the hell I got Robin Mead from. This is Layla Roshan, who played Robin. Sorry. It's just perfection. It's layered, it's nuanced, it's real, it's raw, it's gritty. The ending was extremely satisfactory to me. It's relatable and it's timeless. This movie came out almost 30 years ago, but Terry McMillan's writing is so intricate and intentional, explaining why the characters do what they do or think what they think or feel how they feel, that it allows it to move through time so seamlessly. Oh, you didn't think I was going to forget to mention that this is probably one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time? You see all the names at the bottom. Thank you, Babyface, for producing this work of art. I have nothing, absolutely nothing bad to say. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Next, we have 1996, Set It Off, starring Queen Latifah, Miss Jada Pinkett Smith, Vivica A. Fox, and Kimberly. Sorry, sister, I forgot your last name. She be in a lot of Tyler Perry movies. I'm gonna put Set It Off in Get Her Jade. I think the movie takes itself a little too serious. People like to equate it with like Boyz N the Hood, like the female version of Boyz N the Hood, when I don't think it is at all. I'm not getting that at all. There are strong performances. The plot is just kind of, it's a little loosey-goosey, but it's a crime action thriller type of movie, so they usually have some inconsistencies in the genre. Just because what it represents, I see why it's a classic, and that's why I'm not going to put it in okay. And I was on the edge of my seat during most of the film. It's just kind of like needs a little bit more substance, something grounding it more. I know they have 4 different girls. You can only have so much time to explore everybody, but I wish they could have explored who each one of the girls were and what in their lives increased their desperation for what they did. Next, we have 1997's Love Jones, starring Miss Nia Long and Lorenz Tate. Y'all gonna be real mad at me. I'm putting this in okay. I was hearing about this movie as a little girl. Even like in the 2010s, people were like, Love Jones, like this is classic black love. Like we love black love. Girl, I watched Love Jones. I was like, this is it. We've seen this type of story done so much better. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it was fine. It was a fine movie. I'm not gonna lie, I just felt myself, okay, so when is this gonna be over? Like yeah, we had the stakes of their relationship, her job, and them breaking up and then getting back together and how they met. I think people like it because the leads are really good looking and they had a lot of chemistry, and it's like an aesthetic movie. Like, this movie is not serious at all. It could have had the grit and raw emotionality of a love movie, like, I don't know, Marriage Story, but I think they were too focused on trying to get like this smooth jazz and these dark alleyways. Like, I think they were too focused on aesthetics. I don't know, the actual story to me is so meh. Lorenz Tate and Nia Long did a great job, but I haven't watched Love Jones since. I was very confused by the hype when I first watched it. Next, we have B.A.P.S, Black American Princesses, starring Halle Berry and Natalie, what's her last name? She passed away recently. Oh my gosh. Rest in peace to her. Natalie Desselle. B.A.P.S is cute. It's something to put on. Feel good. Comedy. A little bit of drama. I'm gonna put it in Get Her Jade because it's just cute and it's very aesthetic. You know, people like to do those costumes every year. Cut and dry, plain and simple, feel good movie. The performances were cute. It's nice to see, you know, black films that don't always focus on one thing. We can be funny too. We can be ditzy too. Next, we have 1997 Soul Food, starring my girl, Miss Vanessa Williams. Nia Long's in this too, and Miss Vivica Fox. I'm going to put Soul Food in They Did That because I have to remove my bias from the ranking. I personally love this movie so much. I watched it multiple times. It's just your classic family ensemble drama. The story is there. The gaggiest sex scene I've ever seen in my life is in this movie. It's with the Vanessa Williams husband's character cheats on her with her cousin. That sex scene is crazy. I'm like, this look a little too real. I wish the story was not narrated by that little boy. I wish that everybody could have narrated it a little bit. I feel like that would have unified the story more, but I get why they chose him, especially with his connection to the grandma. If you haven't seen Soul Food, please watch it. I don't think it's underrated, but I don't think it's brought up enough in conversations of classic black films. Oh, next we have Eve's Bayou, 1997, which this has recently gone through like resurgence. I heard a lot of people on TikTok were doing think pieces on this movie. I'm putting Eve's Bayou in talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping. The movie is insane. Like, it's like a psychological mind. I love movies where, like, when you walk away from it, how another person interpreted it will be very different from how you interpret it because it's so layered. Samuel L. Jackson, Lynn Whitfield, Diane Carroll, Little Megan Good, and Little Journey Smollett did their thing, honey. It's called talent at a young age. They did a remarkable job. Explores a constantly overlooked region of the Southeast in films, but not in a stereotypical redneck way, but in like a culturally rich Louisiana, voodoo, hoodoo, black American culture way. And it's so beautifully depicted. Shout out to the director. Your jaw will be on the floor several times throughout this film. Casey Lemons, please give us more. It's timeless. We still need stories like this. Next, we have The Best Man, 1999. Taye Diggs, Morris Chestnut, Nia Long, Regina Hall, Terrence Howard, Sanaa Lathan. Every mainstream middle-aged black actor you can think of is in this movie. This is an ensemble movie. I'm gonna put The Best Man. They did that. They did that. They did that. Or should it be Get Her Jade? Because I have some issues with the film as well. They did that. They did that. I recently, or was it recently, or it may have been a year ago. The time goes by so fast. I did watch the Best Man series, the final chapters, whatever it was called. Fine. It was fine. Some things should just be, you know, left how they are. But it was cool seeing everybody several years later and what they're up to, how they're exploring relationships with one another as middle-aged black people that went through a lot in the past 2 films. The Best Man, it's funny, dramatic, but most of all, what makes the movie so good and why people demanded the Best Man holiday and then the Best Man series is because it's relatable and the interconnected relationships feel so fresh even after all this time, and all the actors have really great camaraderie and chemistry with one another. I like the plot of the whole author writing a book about his friend. That secret is revealed through the book. Like, that was so good. Next we have Love and Basketball 2000, starring Sanaa Lathan and Omar Epps. If we're going to talk about a symbolic black love film, I'm not bringing up Love Jones. I'm bringing up Love and Basketball. Just for the chemistry, I should put... They did that. They did that. Can we talk about steamy? Can we talk about fiery? Can we talk about real? Again, I think people were on TikTok saying like this movie is more toxic than y'all remember, and then I watched it like a 3rd time recently, maybe in like the past year, and I was like, nah, that sounds about right. I feel like growing up this was like every young black girl's like favorite movie. Great performances from both of them, but I think what makes it so intricate and fleshed out is you're rooting for them, but as a viewer you recognize the toss-up. Classic black love film. Love Jones who? All right, we get into the 2000s. Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married? I was like, I have to put at least 2 Tyler Perry films on this list that I've seen. As problematic as he is, he has had such a big impact on black TV and film, and I just felt it was necessary to put at least 2 of his movies on here that I felt like might be deemed as classics. So Why Did I Get Married is one of them. Janet Jackson stars, Jill Scott, and some other Tyler Perry people. I'm gonna put Why Did I Get Married and Get Her Jade. I see what Tyler was trying to do and I appreciate the intention, but Tyler Perry is always going to do Tyler Perry. He's always going to melodramatically cheapen the story or a particular character. He's always going to melodramatically cheapen any substance that his intentions has. I will still rewatch this film. So silly because it's Tyler Perry, but Janet Jackson, man, especially in the second film, how can you not appreciate a performance like that, grit like that, intensity like that? And I just love ensemble movies, if you can't tell yet. I'm gonna put it in Get Her Jade. We see you, girl, but you would never get into the top 2 tiers because of your creator. Next we have another Tyler Perry film, For Color Girls 2010. I personally think this is Tyler Perry's best work, but just because the source material is so good. But of course, again, Tyler Perry has to Tyler Perry and unnecessarily intensify or dramatize things that in their understated form say enough. From what I can remember of this film, the ending is insane.
Death to all of them.
All right, now we're getting into the modern classics. We have Jordan Peele's Get Out from 2016. I don't have to say much. An amazing social commentary, literally galvanized a genre. Black horror with social commentary. What? Who? It's just too good. It's just too good. There was a cultural shift when this movie came out, and I honestly think in some ways it broke society in a good way, because it even had white people like, wait, maybe the continuous oppression of black people in the United States over the course of 600 years is real. It had to be dramatized and wrapped up in horror for them to see that. But amazing performances, and all of this from Jordan Peele, who was known to be like a comedy guy. Just perfection. Okay, next we have Moonlight, also released in 2016, directed by Barry Jenkins, based off of the screenplay by Terrell Alvin McCraney. If you are a human living on planet Earth and you've never seen this movie, please get off this video and go watch this movie. Every person in the world should watch this movie. I don't care your race, gender, read, sex, color, orientation, sexual, gender, express. Please, you must watch Moonlight. This movie isn't just about like a young black boy coming up in Miami in the 80s. It's about discovering who you are and having the space to do that as a human. Self-discovery, community, space, and how the 3 are not mutually exclusive. Why are we here? What is the meaning of life? I feel like this movie answers those questions. It's beautifully shot. I think that's another reason why people love it. It looks so beautiful. It's so tender. It's so raw. It's so intimate. You walk away from the movie a different person. The Oscars royally snubs black art all the time. They knew they couldn't. They knew it. They knew they could not snub this because it's that good. Even with the mistake, they knew that they couldn't do it because it was just like, this is cinema. This is film. This is revolutionary. I have no choice. I have no other choice but to put it in talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular. You can't replicate this type of stuff. Next we have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, starring Miss Viola Davis and the late Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. This is based off of the play of the same name. I actually had to read this for one of my classes and then we had to watch the film. They did that. They did that. I feel like I was transported back into the 1920s and I was in a recording session with these people. Viola Davis, incredible. The story is heightening. You don't know what's going to happen until it happens. It's wonky in the way that like the story is told, but I think more stories should be told in this manner. And then lastly, we have a movie that I watched last night because I'm trying to watch exclusively only black movies all month long. It's Judas and the Black Messiah, starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. Immediately, like I don't even really have much to say. Everybody should watch this movie, especially if you're an African American. Rest in peace to Fred Hampton. We are the people. I am the people. I am a revolutionary. I almost don't really know what to say. As soon as I watched it last night, I knew I had to put it in this video. Yeah, it's only been out for like 3 years.
And how long you been doing hair?
For like 3 years.
Yeah, that's cute. Can you turn around for me?
It's a modern classic. It's basically the story about how William O'Neill infiltrated the Illinois chapter of Black Panther, became like Fred Hampton's right-hand man, and basically catalyzed his murder. This is real history. They don't teach this in schools. Thanks to the government on how they always try to cover up stuff. Coming back because I did not talk about the movie enough. This movie does a fantastic job of world building. The pacing is amazing. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I'm one that gets bored really easily during movies. This movie's over 2 hours long. I was tuned in the entire 2 hours. The performance is Dominique Fishback. The poem that she had read, yeah. Daniel Kaluuya, of course. I must mention that he is British. He's a British actor. So not only does he have to perform an American accent, which I heard for them is pretty easy, but on top of that, you can tell he's an incredible actor, but you can tell that he sat back and he watched them speeches, honey. He absorbed. He was Fred Hampton. Why did this man sound exactly like the way Fred Hampton spoke? He has a very distinct, like, I guess a Chicago accent where it's like, you know it's him when he's talking. Daniel Kaluuya, it was a little too good, actually. Like, it's almost beyond the scope of excellence. Seriously, I expect it from him. He's an incredible actor. He's not slept on, but people really need to give my man his props. Like, he's incredible. He's an amazing actor. This is American history. We need to show this stuff in schools, but they're not going to allow that because the government that's watching my little webcam right now, yeah, they don't want to be exposed. This is a fantastic movie that I feel like it did well, but it came out during like the peak of COVID, so it didn't really get like the proper like movie rollout with like theaters and everything. So please watch.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference, put it in a blender, shit on it, vomit on it, eat it, give birth to it.
So there you have it. That's me ranking 20 classic black films from 1980 to 2021. My personal choices, things I've seen. For me, the best of the best. The Color Purple, Boyz N the Hood, What's Love Got to Do with It, Waiting to Exhale, Eve's Bayou, Get Out, Moonlight, and Judas and the Black Messiah. Classic. Comment down below what your favorite classic black film is. Maybe I'll watch it if I haven't already.
We do not care.
You have living in Washington, D.C. I hope they're okay. So there are some modern classics on here. Oh, it's a squirrel.